promotions. The Division 1 playoff final has been won by Alloa Athletic.
Yeah, some great memories there for you, Paul. Big smile on the face. You've obviously taken very well to management. Was it fairly straightforward making the adjustment?
I think it was. I think when I stopped playing at Aberdeen, I think you can either go down a few routes, the media side or something away from football, but I fancied the management side. Not being a coach, I think I wanted to be my own man and make my own decisions, and it's went pretty well so far. We've had 2.5 years of a real success, and just keep it going. I feel lucky now that I'm in the job 2.5 years, because it doesn't last that long now.
Veteran.
You know, you're talking about the likes of Gary Locke and the pressure he's been under, and all the other managers. You lose 2 or 3 games and you're under so much pressure.
But you've got a great chairman. I know you've got great faith in your chairman.
Very good chairman. Lets me go on with the footballing side. He tries to back me when he can. We understand where we are financially, but he's been outstanding so far. Very young chairman, and knows what I'm trying to do at the club, knows where I want to be, knows what I've done for the club over the last 2.5 years, so we've really worked well together.
We were chatting last week at the game about the Inverness Cali Thistle job, and you were telling me you took an awful lot from the experience of that.
Yeah, I wasn't disappointed I didn't get the job. What the big thing for me was getting the experience of having 2 interviews and speaking in front of people, a board of directors, a chairman, giving them my views, what's required, what I maybe need to do the next time to make it better. But I think it was an experience for me. I wasn't disappointed. I'm really happy for John Hughes to get the job. Yeah,
I mean, I think it was a big surprise to many of us. I think we thought Paul was the main man for that job, Tom.
Yeah, I think there was a lot of support for Paul for the job, and it seems that every job that comes up now, Paul is linked with it.
Yeah.
I think that's a default setting, you know. Somebody gets fired automatically when we reach for our candidates. Paul Hartley is in there.
Yeah. No, that's right.
Which is a good reflection on the job you're doing.
Yeah,
you know.
I think the job that I'm doing, I think it's all about experience, Tom. Don't dive into something straight away. Just get your experience, get a good grounding, see what management's all about. Start at a lower level. Having to work under a financial constraints, having to work with part-time players, and I think the experience I've had has been absolutely fantastic for me.
I spoke to your chairman a while back, and he says not only were you learning about football management, but you were learning about the business of football management. And it's not just players, it's all about budgets, and you were learning all of that stuff.
Yeah, it's not just about players and being a manager and setting your team out and coaching on the training field. I tend to do everything else, and I want to get into that side of it, the budget. I deal with the budget. I go to the board meetings twice a month and to learn what it's like being in front of a board and see what they need and what they're not happy with and what they're happy with.
Are you in any, when you get linked with these jobs, Paul, does that unsettle you in any way? Does it make you think, oh wow, I want to move up a level now?
Not really. I'm really happy with what I'm doing just now. I'm under the radar a little bit. I'm getting on with my job quietly. I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying winning games. I'm enjoying working under a good chairman. I just think, obviously in years to come, then you want to try and get to the highest level as possible being a manager. But I think you have to learn it first. I think you have to learn the ropes.
It was really interesting actually. Watch the 2 games that I've seen of Alloa of late, the play-off, the first leg against Dunfermline and then Cowdenbeath last week, and it's a contrast in styles. The teams you are playing, Jim Jeffries in charge of one, Jimmy Nicholl in charge of the other, very animated, very loud in the touchline. You're far calmer, more considered?
You've not seen me in the dressing room, Kenny, that's the thing. But no, I think it's different sometimes. Sometimes you don't get your point across when you're standing on the touchline. Sometimes you have to wait till you get into that dressing room. Some players don't want to listen, some players don't listen. So I think a lot of the time then get your points in the dressing room.
What's of the managers you played under, what's the one lesson you've learned that you've taken into management?
I think I've played under that many. I think you take all sorts of stuff going into management, but working under Gordon in terms of how he set about his teams and what he was like in the training pitch, what he was like before a game and after a game and half time, you didn't know quite to expect sometimes with Gordon. He'd come in and be really calm, and other times he'd come in and it'd be the sort of hairdryer treatment.
Who's the worst for that? Who's the one that absolutely went through the players?
I think Gordon a lot of the times done it. Yeah, he was like that. Craig Levine done it a couple of times. It was excellent. A very, very good coach. Good on the training field. Good with me. So I think that they're all different. Work under Walter Smith and Big Alec did the same. He gave you a blast now and again.
That's the thing, isn't it? If it's every every week, it doesn't work, does it? It loses the impact.
Players are different now. They're totally different breed and mentality now. You can't do that now. You've got to sort of treat them with kid gloves, and it's an arm round the shoulder at times now.
Do you feel ready now, Paul, to make, we talked about Inverness experience, that you can step up now to the top flight in Scottish football and manage here successfully?
Hopefully. I've come through the leagues, the third, the second, and now the championship. You're just hopefully you get that chance and see if you're ready for it, but I don't know. I'm enjoying what I'm doing just now. I'm learning this year. I think I'm becoming a better manager this year in terms of the championship. You know, the last couple of years we've been a sort of level playing field, because everybody was part-time. This year we've got 7 full-time clubs, three part-time clubs, so I've got to sort of learn and adjust my team a little bit more in terms of the coaching side of it. I've got sort of 2 systems I play. I play one at home and a different one away from home.
So you're fifth in the championship now. Where are you compared to where you thought you might be at this stage?
I think we sort of expected to maybe 7th or 8th,
right.
But 5th, a point off the playoffs. We're doing okay.
Yeah.
Just need a couple of players in to try and bolster the squad.
You need a goal scorer, don't you?
That's it.
You're not scoring. I mean, when you look at Alloa, I just looked at it today. You've 19 goals. Only Morton at the bottom have scored fewer, but you've conceded only 17, and only Dundee at the top have conceded less.
We tend to work a lot more on the defensive side of the team because we know we're up against better players, and our defenders are up against better players. So we've sort of worked on that. If you keep a clean sheet, you'll not lose any games. It's the other side of it, Tom.
Yeah.
You're only as good as your strikers. I remember Gordon always saying that to us at Celtic. You're only as good as your strikers, and it's true. If you've got somebody that can put the ball in the back of the net, 15, 20 goals a season, you give yourself a right chance. So we're trying hard. I've been on the phone all weekend and to try and get a couple of players in, but it's not easy.
No. I mean, you look at you've got, I think, lost 7 in the league.
Yeah,
that's right. 5 of them by 1 goal.
1 goal.
That must kill you. I mean, that must.
It does. We've played Dundee 3 times, once in the cup, twice in the league, and lost 1-0 3 times. So we're not far away. Yeah. We've always been in every single game, and what we do, if we're losing a game 1-0 with 10, 15 to go, we'll put 4 or 5 up front, just to try and take something from the game.
Yeah, lots of people have been asking on Twitter, Paul, the situation with Derek Riordan.
Yeah, Derek's been in training for the last 8 weeks. He's a local lad. He gave me a phone call asking if he came in and try and get some fitness back. He's not played for a year. A talented player like that, 30 years of age, should be in the peak of his career. Should be playing at a higher level, but some things have not worked out for him. So he's come into us, and he's only training with us, Kenny.
Right, so there's nothing there yet. Something you like doing is using the loan system. Is that the avenue that you're going to have to go down here?
Well, we've only got 2 loan signings left, so I have to be really careful in what I try and use this month. We've had good success. We bit of hit or miss sometimes, loan signings. Stevie May.
Could you tell with Stevie May that
McHattie, we've all had in the
Hearts boys, yeah.
So the thing I do my homework. I go to a lot of the under 20 games and see who's the best youngsters out there. Now, it don't always work out for you, but we've had good success so far.
And Stevie May, talk to us about him.
I seen it. I really did see it. I'd watched him previously. I tried to get him in the previous window. Couldn't get him. But when he came to us, I knew he'd something special about him. He's a great kid. Scores a goal, but he's got a great work ethic about him. Really quiet boy. Does his talking on the park. And he's sort of progressed. He scored goals in the 3rd division. Right, can I do it in the next level? Went to Hamilton Accies, did it at that level, and now he's proven he can do it at the top level.
Well, just to go back to Riordan, what's the story? Can you not afford him? Or is he not fit enough?
I don't think he's fit enough, Tom. Yeah. No, we need a group of players that are going to work hard for us every week and be at the fitness levels that's required for our league. So he's not played for a year, and being out of football for a year is a hard thing to get it back in. So we're sort of working on him to try and get his fitness back, and he's working hard. He's a good boy. I know all the stuff, the off the field stuff, but I've played with Derek at Hibs and at Celtic and at Scotland. He's a really good kid.
Okay, lots of people are getting in touch tonight. Paul in Fife says, I was lucky enough to meet Paul and have lunch with him at the Open at Muirfield last year. A smart guy, very open and great company. There's no doubt he will reach the top. That's from Paul in Fife. Do you contact, we talked about, Tom was asking the bits you take from the managers you've played under. Have you picked up the phone to anyone throughout the past 2.5 years? to ask advice or a difficult situation or anything like that?
Not really.
No,
I don't think. I think you're your own man. And a Saturday you're in that technical area. Sometimes it can be very lonely. After a game it can be the same, and you go home if you get a bad defeat. You know, you're difficult to live with, but you have to bounce back again on the Monday in terms to go for the next Saturday. But I tend to just leave it as it is and do it myself.
What are the difficult or the aspects of the job you don't like? I'm guessing it's players' contracts, media even, I don't know, is that?
I don't mind the media.
No.
I'm okay with doing the media. I think I'm used to it over the years as a player.
Mm-hmm.
I think you have to accept criticism, as we were talking about earlier on, when things are not going well. I had it as a player. When you're not playing well, I think you know that yourself. You didn't always like it. And when people say, I don't read papers, I think that they tell lies here.
Yeah. They seem to know what's in them.
No,
when you write something critical of them, all of a sudden they're an expert about what you've written.
I've always read the papers, Tom, so I think it is what it is.
In fairness to you, Paul, even with Celtic, it was hard enough, virtually impossible sometimes, to get an interview from an old firm player, but you always fronted up on that score. You never minded speaking to the media.
I think it's your duty. I thought it was your job. I know a lot of the players didn't like doing the press, especially after the European games and doing the mix zone, and just walk by, and especially the Scotland games going through the mix zone. They didn't want to do it if you get a bad result. The earphones on and just walking past you.
Half the time I'm sure there's nothing playing.
No,
they
there
have
wasn't.
these massive
No,
cans,
exactly.
and I just breezed through.
There's one here actually from Stevie, a Hamilton Accies fan. Listen to Paul bringing back lots of memories for this Accies fan. Wish he was starting out in his playing career again. Overriding memories of him playing on the Blaze at Chanting Hall Road.
Yes.
When an 8-year-old Paul was running rings around us older boys.
It was right outside my mum's house. It's still there, yeah. And I was at the Hamilton game on Saturday, and my wee boys is going pro youth with Hamilton next year. So
yeah.
He's got a fair bit of ability and talent. He's only 9.
They've got a history. I mean, is that what you look at? I mean, you know the club obviously, but do you look at the players that brought through there?
I look at any youngster now in terms of breaking through, and I think you've always got a better chance at going to a smaller club. They've got a much better chance. You see that many players that go to a bigger club and they just don't progress. I think they get a much better chance. You look at the McCarthy and MacArthur at Hamilton. Yeah. So he's in there just now. He's enjoying it. I've not coached him anything, not taught him anything. He's natural ability.
What about Alloa then? Tom was talking about the league position there. Is making the playoffs still the goal? Did you talk to players about that?
Never. No, I think we had a remit at the start of the season, sat the players down, spoke to the chairman and says, what can we do this year? What's our aims? What's our ambitions? And I think it's always to try and stay in the league. But when you get in there and you're halfway through the season, you're a couple of points off the playoffs, I think you start aiming a wee bit higher then.
Do you want to, I mean, it sounds like a crazy question, but do you want to go up?
Yeah.
Do you?
I want to go up.
Because it changes the fabric of the club. Of course. You go up to a Premiership and it's a different game then.
Of course it is, but as a manager you want to go up, you want success. You know, we've had 2 promotions. I wouldn't mind a third one. In terms of, I know what you're saying about the chairman and the financial side of it, you know, if it did happen, you know, we're a long way off that. But if that was the case, or maybe not this year or the next couple of years, then we understand financially.
Yeah.